Welcome to BK Gardens. We are a few weeks away from spring. It's almost like 65 degrees today. It's not even halfway through March yet. We're getting an early taste of spring here. Pretty awesome. And today's project, starting to get prepped for growing season 2020. The thing I've learned the most over the last 3 years of gardening is, the best way to set yourself up for a good season is doing a lot of smart preparation in the spring before water really kicks into warmth, before last frost. Last frost here is roughly mid-April. So what I'm doing today is getting a new raised garden bed set up, which will be for my Sun Gold tomatoes. For the last 3 years, I've been using my Sun Gold tomatoes in these pots, which are great. These things I bought at Home Depot pretty cheap 3 years ago. But what I want to do is actually consolidate, clean up the backyard a little bit. I have these on dollies, which has been great. Moving around, super easy to create a flexible environment so I can move them around into the sun, get longer sun during the spring, and move them around in the summer too. When it gets super hot, I can move them to cooler shaded areas. But here's the frame I built out yesterday. This is a cedar wood frame for this garden bed. The reason I went with cedar, hey, it's cheaper. It's not the cheapest way to go, but in terms of durability and longevity, cedar is very good. It prevents, doesn't have, has some wood rotting resistant properties. I'll put on a light coating here, organic. This is not treated wood, just to be clear. You do not want treated wood for your garden bed. That's toxic, potentially, for leaching into your soil. You want to keep it organic and non-treated wood. So next step is, because this is going to be resting on stone here, I want to make sure that there's holes. So I'm going to put the bottom on it. Right now, I'll drill holes in it, create some mesh to create basically a porous bottom, enough to keep the soil in, but enough holes for water drainage. And then I'll also put it up on blocks so that it's off the ground and there's space so that the water doesn't get locked in there. There's plenty of room for the soil, the water to run through, and create a good soil environment without it having to be basically locked in there. The water create faster rot, have this rot out really quickly, and then also just create a better soil environment for growing. So first step is the frame is done. Next step, let's put a bottom on this thing. The key things I wanted to show before I complete it. Next thing I'll do is I'll do a stain on here. I have an organic stain. I'll show you the variety I'm using. Again, we do not want to use treated wood for our garden bed. Have chemicals leaching into the vegetables, not good. But this is going to be built on stone here. You can see I have it on blocks. So I have 4 blocks. These are like 4-inch blocks by 36 inches. Keeping it off the ground. The reason why I want it off the ground is because it's not on grass or another surface where all the water can drain out. I actually have to create holes. I drilled holes in it, and this will create a drainage system so that this thing just doesn't turn into a huge cedar tub. Well, that would be awesome to go swimming in. It would not be great for the plants. So this will create the drainage we need. What I'll do next is I'm going to do the stain on it, and then I'm going to put a mesh in here so that the soil will be retained in, but it'll create enough of a porous environment so that the water can drain out. So that's it. Next step, let's get some stain on this bad boy. All right, so finally, the cedar garden bed is complete. We are ready for growing season 2020. Future home of the Sun Gold tomatoes is ready. Last 3 steps I want to share with you before you finish is, number 1, we use untreated wood. Remember, you do not want treated wood. It is muy malo for the garden vegetables. You want to use a natural organic wood treatment that's safe. I'll send a few links below. I use this Valhalco. Doesn't cost much, and I only used about half of the amount that comes in one of these things for the whole project. Second item is steel corner braces. These things are super cheap, but could add another 5 to legitimately 7 years on the longevity of this thing. When this thing is full of soil, it's a tremendous amount of pressure pushing at the sides. This will help the corners from breaking, which is the area that's most susceptible to break with garden beds. Cheap solution, but really maximizes the length of time you're going to get out of your garden bed. And then finally, For the bottom, those drainage holes I put in, I covered it with just a wire mesh from Screen Door. Picked it up, super cheap, put a link below where I got at Lowe's. And that's it. This is a garden bed which is 7 feet long by 3 feet wide. Total cost of materials and everything is about $350 to $375. You can probably get it cheaper than I got it here in Brooklyn. Hit me up with comments, questions. If you have suggestions on how you did it cheaper and easier, I totally want to know. If you found this helpful, hit like or subscribe for more urban gardening adventures from Brooklyn here on a beautiful afternoon. This is Sean Duggan signing off. See you soon.